In Chinese medicine, two of our diagnostic tools are the tongue and the pulse. Now, when I look at a patient's tongue, I'm looking at several features. I'm looking at the shape of the tongue, whether there are tooth marks or not on the tongue, the color of the tongue, the coating on the tongue, the color of the coating on the tongue, several different things. And what does that tell me? Well, it tells me the state of the inside of the body. It points mostly to the stomach and the digestive system, but it can also tell me quite a bit about other aspects of the body. So if we look at her tongue, and I just want you to lay it out there. Okay, we can see that it's pale. It has tooth marks on the side, and it has a very slight quiver, but the coating is actually pretty good. A little bit of yellowness to the coating. You can relax, thank you. Now, after looking at her tongue, what that tells me is she has, in Chinese medical terms, what we would call a qi deficiency with a little bit of associated heat. Now, I don't know exactly where that heat is coming from. I can guess it's probably coming from the stomach or the guts somewhere, but I'm not sure. So to really nail down some things, I'm going to take her pulse. I'm going to take her pulse on each wrist. Now, in Chinese medicine, when I take the pulse, I'm taking it in each wrist in 3 spots on the wrist. On each spot, I have 2 depths, a shallow and a deep depth. So I'm feeling a total of 3, 6, 12 pulses. So there's a lot of information. Now, in Western medicine, when we take the pulse, the only thing we're concerned about is how fast it's going and if it's irregular. In Chinese medicine, the pulse tells us so much more than that. So, for example, I will just take her pulse on her left side. Now, each of these 3 positions corresponds to an organ, and the same on the right. So by feeling her pulse, what I'm feeling for is the quality of the pulse. And there is something like well over 20 descriptors of the pulse. Things like slippery, wiry, tight, short, long. Many different qualities of the pulse. So by taking her pulse on each wrist, that can tell me about her organs or the state of her health. And that's what you can determine from the pulse. Now, a little bit of trivia. You can tell if a woman is pregnant by the pulse. You can tell the sex of the baby by the pulse. And I've done both of those things successfully myself, so I know that it can be done. The 3 places on each wrist are right next to each other. There's 1, 2, 3 places. Each place corresponds to a different organ. For each one, there's a depth, shallow and deep, depending on how I press. Each one I'm feeling a shallow and a deep pulse. So that's 3, 6 per wrist for a total of 12 pulses that I'm feeling.